Good evening, my friends, and welcome to the next episode of RHEM 2. Last time out, we got this simulation working, and I have been racking my brains ever since in terms of, well, what do we do with this information? What do we do with this information? So, there's a few things that I have in my head. There's a few things that I've been having in my head. We talked about these being a set of simultaneous equations, right? And these diamonds, yeah, these diamonds correspond to these diamonds. This has to be digits, right? Now, like, you could esoterically say something like, okay, well, a line plus a triangle makes a triangle line, or a line plus a triangle makes a square, and a line multiplied by a triangle makes a triangle with a line through it, or something like that. But I don't see that as being the thing. I feel like it must be a lot more literal. Like, these are literally the digits 1 to 9, and there's probably a 0 somewhere, and they are going to map to actual numbers. Like, what that's gonna do for us, I don't know. But I feel like that has to be a thing, right? I feel like it has to be that needs to be a thing. The other thing that I've been mulling over is these pictures on the wall, these guys. And it's the way that these are grouped, 2, 3, 3, 1. And so I wonder if there's something to do with actually, if you were to put these physically in a box, does anything happen? Because again, if you were to put these 3 and then 3 and then 1 and then 2, that makes a 3x3 box, which is also potentially the numbers 1 to 9. I mean, that's a bit more of a stretch, maybe. So yeah, like, we don't really have a plan. We don't really have a plan for today's episode. We're just gonna think. We're going to keep thinking, we're going to keep tinkering, and we're going to see what we can come up with, right? So with that, let's jump into it and see what we can do over the next half hour. So, let me see. Here's the equations, right? So, here's the equations. And this was a clue we picked up from elsewhere, right? So it's kind of like, let's draw these out. Let's draw these out explicitly. So the pluses go downwards here. And they're going downwards like that, right? Because these two are the missing 2. And these two are the missing 2. So it's the correct way round. But when it comes to this, they are flipped, okay? Whoops. So we won't worry about that just yet. But what we're going to say is we're going to say that line plus a rhombus with a vertical line plus a triangle with a horizontal line, well, that equals a triangle without a line going through it at all. So in my musings between episodes, I was thinking, well, you've got like vertical lines coming down, you've got horizontal lines, and you've got empties, right? So maybe these represent the digits 1 to 9, and then whether they've got a line through them or a line vertical is like your 10s and your 20s. Maybe. But, okay. Is there like a pattern we can see here? So that's a triangle with a horizontal line, and that's a triangle without a horizontal line. But that's a line, and that's a line with a vertical. If these are individual digits, and they're coloured differently, so you'd assume maybe these ones are the 1 to 9s. It's interesting that you've got that and that both in there. That would make me kind of suspect that these were actually, unless it's a different base. But we've previously counted up the symbols before, right? And I think we counted up something like... Oh, is it 9 symbols? Is it 9 symbols, exactly? So you've got what? Circle, dip, that way triangle, chevron upwards, square, line, square, circle, you got rhombus, square wave up. This is of course unless flipping a shape upside down isn't a modifier, right? So you got square wave down, square wave up, rhombus, so a triangle. You've got semicircle down. You got semicircle up. So actually all of these, yeah, you got chevron down. All of these have an upside down modified version. So maybe flipping them is a modifier, not a thing. Because you can flip a circle, it looks the same. You flip a square, it looks the same. All of the ones that would look different if you flip them are included. But how many is here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's possible we're doing a base 12, or we could be doing a base 6 with the only symbols being circle, square, triangle, yeah, box, sorry, square wave, box, chevron, line. Oh no, rhombus would still be in there, sorry, so it wouldn't be 6. Rhombus would still be on there. Semicircle would still be on there. Wait, circle, square wave, triangle, chevron, square, line, rhombus, semicircle. So yeah. So you have 8. So it's 8 unique symbols, or 12 otherwise. So, trying to think. Well, if these were the digits 1 to 9, yeah, if these were the digits 1 to 9, if you're in base 8, then you would get 2 repeating, wouldn't you? You'd have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 and 11. So maybe we're counting in base 8. Maybe we're counting in base 8. In which case, circle and triangle would have to be 1 and 2. Circle and triangle would have to be 1 and 2. Thing is, though, one of those has a line through it that way, the other one has a line through it that way. So what's the deal with that? If that's the line along we're thinking, you know? We also, actually, no, we have a repeat here, right, with a line, so it's not base 8, because the semicircle doesn't feature in this grid. The semicircle doesn't feature in that grid, so that's not it. Breakthrough there. Almost. I mean, like, we're steering the skid at the minute, because it feels like we're sort of close to something, but that we're not quite there. We don't quite have it. I mean, I wonder if... Oh no, that's not actually the thing. Wait. Sorry, the actual solution that got us there was this here. Now with this one, well, those two are repeated, and there's also a repeat of that one. So I don't think the shape from the solution is anything to do with this. It's got to be digits, right? It's got to be digits. We've got 6 simultaneous equations. They have to map to numbers. It's got to be a number. We're just not necessarily in base 10. So what have we got? We've got repeats here. We've got a repeat here. And a repeat here. The fact that that's not in there really screws with my theory, because it means that these, when multiplied, have to equal that one. So if that's if the semicircle's an individual digit, that can't really work with those. Well, I mean, it could, because you could have something like 1 times 2 times 3 equals 6. You know, you could do it. Okay, let's assume I've got some kind of base 8. In which case, this has to be a very low number. So all of these have to be very low numbers. And I suggested that, well, here's the thing. The line, right, that's got to be 1, 2, and 3 right there. Yeah. If that was 4, 1 and 2, that would multiply up to make 8. Right, which would effectively be 10 in base 8. Yeah. So that would make that 10. And that's not used anywhere else. So that could do it, right? Which would kind of mean that one has to be a 3. Because you can't... If circle, triangle, and line have to be 1, 2, and 3, because they're the only ones that get repeated, so you'd make... So those would have to be like the earliest ones. I mean, it's not a guarantee... It's not a guarantee that those are the earliest 3. Let's make a conjecture that that's a 3. Well, if that's a 2, the one with the line through it, well, it could be a 12, right? But of course, it's a 12 in base 8, which is actually this is where my math is going to just start really falling apart. So 8 is 10, 9 is 11, 10 is 12, right? So there's actually a 10. Maybe I need to write their like actual numbers in here. So that's 10, that's 8, right? So in reality, this is a 10. So you're going to add these up. So if that's 3, 4, and 10 to make 17. Well, 17 in base 8 is actually 21. So that wouldn't work. You'd kind of want it to be 22. Oh no, what am I doing here? I feel like this has got to be somewhat along the right lines. Is it? Does this genuinely have to be a 4? Just because this one's its own digit. If this one's its own digit, it has to be 8 or less, assuming we're in base 8. So I think this one has to be 1, 2, and 4. So does that one need to be 3 if it's on its own? Does that one have to be 3? Yeah, like, kinda, doesn't it? Because then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, some combination of 5 and 6, and then you'd have 7. No, wait, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5, 6. Wait, that would need to be 7, wouldn't it? Sorry, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's my unique ones? 5, 6. 7 on the semicircle. Oh, we're missing square wave. We're missing square wave from this anyway. So... Yeah, because square wave is only here and here. So that one, so square wave kind of doesn't get a look in. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Like if that's 8. So some combination of 5, 6. Seven, 8. Then this would need to be like 9, I suppose. Nine, 10, 11. Like if you add up, so the vertical ones are adding, right? So if you take like, well, that's either 9 or 10, right? Because that's 1 or 2, that's 2 or 1. Which means actually if it's either way around, the sum will add up correctly, right? Because this is either one bigger than we expect, and this one might be one lower than we expect. So if we say that that one's definitely 3 and therefore that one's definitely 11, the box would definitely come out to being a 22, right? Which, when you convert that back down to base 8, is 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, a 6. So this box is a 6. Is that how that works? And then if you've got so we're reasonably happy on that one. So if you've then got 6, the rhombus we've said is going to be some variation on 4. So 6 plus 1 is 7. Plus some digit needs to give something that gives a 4 as the remainder when you divide it by 8. So 7, it could be 5. Yeah. So if you do 6 and 1 and 5, that makes 12. Right, which when you divide it by, yeah, that makes 12. And that makes 4 when you divide it by 8 there. These I've actually got the wrong way around. No, yeah. So it's 8 in real life, 8 in real life. So that makes it 9 in real life. Yeah, but in the base 8, this is actually 11. No, yeah, 11. That's 10, so that's 11. Except the triangle could still be flipped. So we reckon that being 11 is reasonably sure, and if that's 5. Now the triangle is either going to end up being a 2 or a 1. So if we're multiplying stuff together, well, actually, if we do it from the addition side, so 3 we're reasonably happy with and 4 we're reasonably happy with. We need a number which, when we add it, is going to still give us... Oh no, it's either a 2 or a 1, isn't it? So actually it'll be easy to do it from the multiply side. Won't it? So 5 times 11 is 55. And then from the triangle, you're either giving it... For the triangle, you're either giving it a 10, or you're giving it a 9. Yeah, depending on whether it's 1 or a 2. Oh, we already said this one would be a 5 based on this being a 12. If this was a 2, this would have to be a 4. So actually, yeah, that being a 2 makes sense, right? So if this is a 10... Yeah, because that's 10, 11, 12 in the base, right? So if this is a 10, so i.e. 12 in the actual base, then 10 plus 4 plus 3 is 17, which isn't actually... Yeah, that doesn't actually work then, does it? Because that's then 21 in the base. 17 is 21 in base 8, which doesn't track. If we flipped these two round, what would that do? That makes that one larger, makes that one smaller, makes that one larger. So that one ends up being the same to turn that into 22. So that stays at 22, which means that stays as 6. Yeah. So that's 6. If that's a 2, that would then need to be 4 to turn that into a 12. Oh no, but if that's... yeah. That would need to be a 4, but that's already 4. So something's gone wrong with one of my assumptions there. Yeah, something's gone wrong. Are these numbers okay? What does the rhombus turn out to be? If I take a 9 and multiply it by 6, I get 54. Times 3 is 159. We'll divide that by 8. Well, 160 divides by 8, right? So it's 1 off divided by 160. So that makes this equivalent to a 9. But that's not. We're expecting it to be a 4. So that's not it. That's not it. Maybe my assumption about this being a 4 is incorrect. I mean, it could be a 3 instead. I mean, if we... Okay. Let's reset. Yes, this might end up being the entirety of this episode. When do we get to play the actual game part of this game? I hear you ask. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. This is like the high octane puzzle solving that I know you guys secretly love. Do you know what I might do, given that we're doing like so little wandering around in the game? I might just stick like a vibey backing track on this whole episode. We'll see. Let me know, in fact, if I do that, let me know in the comments what you think of this copyright-free music. Okay. Maybe that's not 1, 2, 4. Because we know these aren't going to be the digits 1 to 9 because we've already conceded that one of those digits and one of the digits aren't even on the grid, right? However, if we are in base 8, we know that these 3 numbers need to multiply to something that is not even necessarily a single digit, because that could be the single digit version of it, and this one is the upside down version of it. So that's maybe a bit of an assumption in its own right anyway. Do you know what I mean? Rather than this being the 8, this could be the 8, and that could be the symbol for 16. In which case, these 3 numbers could be anything that we're supposed to be multiplying together. I'm going to keep that working. I'm going to start some new working over here. I don't want to lose that working. It does make me question, though, how we could get to this, how we could work this out. So certainly, that way with a line must be less than that way without a line, right? Because you can't add numbers to something to create a lesser number. Now, what we've got here is we've got a vertical line, no line, a vertical line makes a vertical line. We've got some horizontal lines here, becomes a horizontal line. We've got a horizontal, a vertical, a horizontal, ends up with no line. Okay, well we also know from this direction, yeah, that way round with a line must also be less than this way round with a line. Is there something we can say about the relationship between these two? Very difficult. Very difficult, but we might be able to. We might be able to. Is there something we can say? Because if we could, for certain, although it's not a guarantee, but generally when you multiply numbers together, they end up being bigger than when you add numbers together. Unless one of these digits is 1, which we feel is unlikely. Because I think that's far more likely to be 1 than that one, for example. We've not said anything about vertical lines yet, like at all. So, possibly, possibly you could say that one with a line is greater than one without a line, just on the basis that these numbers get added and these numbers are getting multiplied. Can we say anything about the vertical lines though? We've got a vertical line here and here and here. But if with no line, yeah, well, no line is greater than a horizontal line. And I'm not really sure how to treat that one, to be honest, because that is only a horizontal line. It's the only thing that exists on it. So does it count as having no line, or does it count as having a horizontal line? Ah. This puzzle, man. I'm starting to get convinced that maybe we're missing a clue. Maybe we need another clue on this puzzle. Maybe. Like, these lines are going to come out here and they're going to go into more maths over here, which then becomes more maths over here. Right, so that equals that. That is that equals that equals that. And then that becomes like these numbers here. And that's where we're putting numbers in. Except for the fact that we're also missing a component to actually solve the puzzle, because we're missing a component in there. These lines are definitely not just going to go across. Because what would be the point in having the missing component if that was the case? You know? Oh, I don't know. Hard to, yeah. Dunno, yeah. Oh, it's hard to say much of anything about that puzzle, you know? Like, it feels like maybe we're onto something with it. Like, it feels like this is... Like, it feels like this is the thing I'm supposed to be doing. The green wire... Right, the green wire that's coming through is going through this way. I'm pretty sure that's to call the tram if the tram ends up in the wrong spot. Which is something for later once we've opened shortcuts and things. Because this room is above other rooms that we have not unlocked yet. There's no getting through here. And this one, I'm pretty sure, is where you input your ultimate answer to this puzzle. Oh dear. Yeah, this episode might end up being a bit of a wash, to be honest. I mean, we cracked the simulation last time out. Ah, they've got to be numbers, right? They've got to be numbers. But are we missing a clue to help us work out how they're numbers? You know? Ah, okay, right, look. A few more minutes on this puzzle, right? Because there are a couple of things we could say, right? The fact that this one plus that equals another triangle one. This is, of course, assuming that my base 8 theory is correct, right? We could be in base 12. Maybe I should spend 10 minutes thinking about base 12. But what I was thinking of, with this one, that one plus that one equaling another triangle one, means that that plus that has to equal some multiple of 8. Right? And if those are indeed individual digits, then they're going to be, yeah. But what if we were in base 12 instead? Yeah, what if we were in base 12 and each of these were actually separate digits? Separate potential digits. Let's get rid of this, right? We're going to spend 10 minutes thinking about base 12 instead of base 8, because maybe my initial thinking was not correct. So what would that look like? Okay. So it's not flipped. These are genuinely different digits now. But that and that still share the same root. Yeah? As to this one and this one. As to this one and this one. Okay. But that one and that one are the same root, yeah? Now, we still want a number here, but this number could be anything up to the number 11. Yeah. So that doesn't necessarily mean that that's 1, 2, and 4 anymore. Now, we don't have a triangle. So again, that's going to be some digit. Okay, what can we say? What could we say about these numbers? If we believe that that is the case, then this one is smaller than this one. Yeah. Which would actually then make probably that one quite large. So if this one could be like... These are getting multiplied up. Yeah. So that means that can't be 11 because that's prime. Ah, so yeah. Well, if that... Yeah, does that mean that has to be a number... Yeah, if this... Yeah, for this to be true and it be base 12, this digit has to be larger than 12, right? Because this is the lower value. But this digit must be less than 12 because it doesn't have a line through it either that way or that way. And if these are all positive integers, bigger than 1, that can't work. So maybe this is the other way round. Yeah? And actually the one with the lines are the smaller ones, the ones without the lines are bigger. But then you end up with a similar problem with here and here. Right, because these are multiplying up. And they need to multiply up in such a way, this one being a number larger than 12, but this one... Oh, well, this is a vertical line, though, actually. That's a vertical line. But still, if that's going to be a number larger than 12, when you multiply it up, that's going to end up being a large number. So I'm actually kind of liking this base 12 thing slightly less than the base 8. Because the base 12 thing is kind of putting us in a situation where it's like... Yeah. Mind you, I mean, we couldn't get it working with this one either, right? Like, even if that was small, this was large. And then that ended up being large. But it could be large because we could be like, well, when you flip it, it becomes, like, really big. Because the only ones we actually have to worry about the value of when flipped was this one triangle. Because nothing else has a flipped version in the same puzzle. Okay. Unfortunately, my friends, we're out of time for the recording today. This episode's been a little bit of a wash. We've had some deep thinking about how to work out these digits. I'm pretty convinced these must be digits. I'm pretty convinced these must be numbers. Because otherwise, this whole thing about adding them together and multiplying them together and then minusing them and equaling them and then minusing them and then equaling them and putting them in as an answer, it doesn't make sense unless they're digits. So I have a feeling like there should be a way that we can work this out. Maybe we're missing a clue, but it feels like we've got to be somewhat along the right lines. I don't know. Anyway, not the best episode, maybe not the most puzzles solved for sure this episode. So we will probably try something different next episode. Try and move on to maybe a different puzzle next episode. Oh, how close are we to being Arthur? How close are we to asking for a hint? It's tricky. We're getting closer. Well, my friends, I will see you next week. Have a great rest of your week. Bye for now.